How come we never use anything in here?
Nobody's given us anything to put it on except for plan of conservation development. We did that in the other room.
We should demand like the architects and all that to come through, or that they
If it
put
was
them
a
on
big
there,
project, I'd
you know?
say, yeah, you know.
I mean, it's all there.
We got
We
it,
just
might as well
haven't had
use
a,
it.
you know, major, you know, Johnsonville full blown out. Banner would have been a good one for it, all blown out.
Yeah,
That'd
we
been a
don't see
good
one of those in this, with this commission. For a while.
You never know. Things just might go wild in these towns.
Blossom.
I'll call the, East Hampton Planning and Zoning Commission meeting together, for October 8th, 2019. Could we have attendance, please?
Barry Brownell,
Here.
James Kirk.
Here.
Kevin Matthews absent. Harvey Thomas absent. Bernard Gillis.
Here.
Louis Salacrum.
Here.
Ed Gubbins.
Here.
Rich Pettinelli absent. Jose.
Shall we sit in for Kevin Matthews this evening? Okay, minutes of our past meeting, which would have been September 24th.
I just have a question on the first page there. Is Economic Development a committee or a commission?
Committee.
It's a committee, it's not a commission.
Are they a committee
No,
or they're a
Is it a
commission?
commission?
Economic Commission.
Then under others present, we should just change committee to commission. I've always called it commission.
I thought it was a committee.
And on page 2, third line from the bottom.
What's the
would be
difference?
opposed to installing. Installing that.
Committee's a temporary,
Yeah.
just temporary, it's not
They should have popped up.
elected or appointed or.
I don't think I have anything else.
What is it?
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah,
Like me to.
oh man, do I have the wrong ones? Okay, let's see. Page 2. I don't think you mentioned this, Chief. Page 2, paragraph 4 or 5 down, it says, Mr. Brown asked about a well on the neighbor's site. This is with Wildwood Road. And Jim said, say the property is part of a community water system? There's a well on this property.
No,
This is a
the neighbor's
year-round,
well. The neighbor's well is a part of the community water system. Because he asked about the neighbor's site. So the neighbor's site is part of the community water system.
neighbor site. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I stand corrected. And did you check into the number of liquor store permits that this town could have? 3, it is.
Great.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So we lost one.
That's been three
No,
for a while. I
Gary
remember.
has 2.
Gary has two.
Gary carries 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
He
the other one?
bought Tizzy's,
Oh,
so they
okay.
wouldn't have the competition.
Well, there used to be 4 in town.
Yeah,
There used to be 4 liquor
yeah, but I
stores.
know last time we spoke about it was three.
Conservation. That's illegal?
I
Yeah.
guess it's legal, yeah.
Yeah, under 10,000 is 3.
Okay.
Okay. Then how did we have 4 at one time?
Because they waned itself down. We used to have a hell of a lot.
Yeah,
more
yeah,
before.
that's what Harvey was
did?
saying,
Sure, we
yeah.
had,
I remember just the,
but
well, the 4 liquor stores.
Santa Rosa and down by me and then, over there by the,
Fox,
Cleaners.
yeah.
And then
Dombrowski's.
it was always in Moodus.
Dombrowski's, yeah. And then before, in the thing, there used to be 2 in the old village.
Were
Yeah.
they?
And then Kalaji's used to sell beer.
I was gonna say, Clyde's.
Now,
Kalaji's sold beer too.
let me ask you this, there's a separate permit to sell beer and wine as opposed to
Now
a liquor
there is,
store?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, let me get over some business first. I guess we'll accept the minutes as amended. Okay.
Second.
Any bills? I didn't get any.
No new
You
bills?
don't need it.
2 weeks in a row. That's
Game.
CEO report.
So I sent out for estimates, the plan of conservation and development, the main body of the work. They also sent us the executive summary, and as was requested, I've asked them to lighten up that front page before we post that. I also sent the main body of work to Linda so she could post it on the Haddam webpage. So it's there, and then have links from R and then on the main page so people can see it. And as soon as I get the other one with the lightened up front page, because it was so dark you couldn't see the bridge or anything else, I'll post that on the webpage also. Then after that, I'm gonna send those final copies to the state so that they have it as part of their record that we're in compliance with the,
We're late, but we're still on
Yeah.
time for what we applied for.
and we don't have any, the real crux of the matter is if, between now and, me sending the final copies to them, as long as nobody's got an application for a grant, then we're okay. That's where it comes in, they go with, are you updating your plan of conservation development? And if we had sent a supplemental letter, like if it was 2 months ago, we'd have sent a supplemental letter saying, here's the public hearing date, here's, everything else. So we should be good with that.
Does River Cog get a copy? Do you send one down
I'm
to
gonna
Torrance?
send the Torrance too. The only thing I had a question, he sent me in the appendices, he sent me so that I could copy out maps. And I wanted them in individual files. I said, okay, you were some tech guys gotta help me out
Sorry,
here.
you can
because
unplug.
when I go to open them, even though I got 10.7 GIS and they did it in 10.7 GIS, I'm getting like a quarter of it thing, and I said, okay, before I corrupt the file. And so he emailed me back, he goes, I'll have a tech guy call you. So it was also probably, beyond his wanting to deal with. So hopefully we'll get that done.
Any other agencies we need to send it off to?
Not really, because once it's posted on our webpage, that's the.
I guess we just send it to Cog as a courtesy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gateway doesn't get it, or?
Well, it's the same.
It's same office.
Same office,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I guess you could send them to, I don't, whatever they
Well,
want.
once we get hard copies, I can drop one off, but everybody in their world right now down there, they, so limited space, they're going on the computer anyways.
Yeah. I think they're moving again, they're planning on moving again too.
Wasn't it 2 years ago discussion you were gonna move and it didn't
Yeah,
happen?
and then they were able to hold on to the building and,
This is Gateway?
yeah, I said, well, why don't you rent they were looking for a place to have a meeting, I said, why don't we go to the Haddam Public Hall? And everyone on the other side of the river,
You did use the
Oh,
grant.
of course I sure did. I throw it out every opportunity I can, and if it's on this side of it, they don't want anything to do with it.
I gotta take a ferry ride this week.
And then the 6 representatives on this side, we're all like, what's
Which
the big
was
deal?
Oh, was it?
So, what's that?
I mean,
I said the bridge was stuck this week, I had to take a ferry ride.
Oh,
that's probably, and then they'll have to drive home in the dark and that's just, oh my God. There's no lights over here,
ooh, I know, really, wow. Yeah,
Um,
we're still using coal oil. But anyway.
The other thing that you're gonna see pretty soon is that we finally got the GIS, through Sewell and the assessors program link, so it's available to the public, so that you can go on and kind of look at maps and placement of houses. And for some reason, when I opened that today, we have the layer for the, the photo over the top. Came back to me, that's unavailable to you, so I'm going to work with Sewell and say, why? That was part of we got as part of our contract too. Which will help people that are looking at properties prospectively, be able to open it up. If they decide to do something on the weekend, they don't have to call the office for it. They can open up and look and search, and realtors can, do a little more due diligence off of that. It's not as detailed orientated as my GIS system here, but for a public webpage, it's comparable with any other community that's out there. So that'll also be available.
What kind of information you can get on it?
So when you go to most of the towns, if they have GIS available, not only is it GIS, but it links to the assessor cards program. So when you open up a GIS map, you can click on a property and the assessor card comes with it, or if you go to the assessor's card, you can click and the GIS map opens up with it. So it goes back, but things like the butters, things like properties within 500 feet, you can set parameters, you can measure a tool on it. It's not surveying, but it's, it's something, it shows structures.
These are topo maps and,
Not as much
No.
topo. Topo, we kept that layer out because you put
Water.
that layer on there, it's, but it's water, it's streams, it's roads, it's structures, it's property lines, the basics that you need to start the process. The biggest thing is the link to the assessor card.
Yeah, right.
You know, and okay, there's a property, there's a value. You know, when people are trying to sell properties, they, you know, that kind of investigation.
Yeah,
What are the taxes on it, you know?
Yeah.
All that, it's there, it's laid out for them,
Yeah.
so they don't have to, you know,
good.
take a ride down. So that feature we were trying to get for quite a while.
And I access that through our town site.
It will be, I just sent it to Linda today, and said post it
Yeah,
in the town, post it under land use, post it under assessor,
okay,
so that's
good.
available.
You have a chance to look into that other, the cemetery thing?
The cemeteries,
Lou, you had asked a question about, you were playing devil's advocate about cemeteries and why towns should have some.
He wasn't playing devil's advocate.
I was playing
no,
the
just one
devil.
copy, give that to Craig for now, I can make copies for everybody else, but the basic is that New Haven probably was one of the first in 1796. They used to have it in the green, they filled it, so they must have been heathens, because they didn't be part of any church, I don't know what the story was, because everything else, early 1600s, 1700s, the towns were actually the churches, so you formed a society because the church was here. Right, and so New Haven was one of the first in the state of Connecticut. They formed their one when they filled up the green, and then they, you know, commissioned them doing that. But there is a ton of legislation written for municipalities to have cemeteries and take control of cemeteries, because these churches went defunct and all of a sudden it was sitting out there.
Yeah, there's legislation to control cemeteries,
Yep.
but not for towns to buy cemetery space.
Yeah, no, there is.
You gotta show it to me.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
give
send-
everybody a
just
copy.
email it to me, or.
Yeah, well, I'll get everybody a copy. You get strung up?
Yep.
So it is actually there, you know, it allows the formation of it, but it's not new. And then if you look into the 1830s, they went away from just having cemeteries to parks. And the architects got involved and they started making bigger cemeteries with more space, because there were no quote-unquote city parks. And so they started combining the two as a
There was a big
central
article,
place.
I remember reading a big article about that, how cemeteries, and old cemeteries are considered parks, and they were
Yeah.
made like that, exactly.
Yeah, so,
Well,
The towns would do that.
there are cemeteries in the inner cities where the people go and actually have a picnic at the
Yeah.
gravesite
Yes, yes.
on the
And that
deceased's
was-
birthday or
that was
whatever.
technically the only
Christmas.
quote-unquote public space
They
other
do-
than the green. You know, so you had the public green in the middle, and then you had cemeteries were the two public spots you could go to.
These-
This when the population was really expanding in the 1800s like that, so they must have really had a need for it, because everybody was being buried.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah, there was no,
you know,
So that Catholic church that burned down, that was out in Millington, was there a cemetery
That
attached to
wasn't
that?
Catholic, then.
There wasn't a Catholic?
No.
Catholic Church has always been here in Ludus.
It's always been in Woods.
yeah,
That was, you know, it looked like.
Methodist.
Methodist
Well,
or
whatever,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
the church that burned.
there is no, it's Tater Hill is the one, not Tater, Millington rather, the Millington Cemetery down the road
That's probably it.
is it, but not next to the building
But
itself.
it had no relationship to the church?
Oh, I imagine it did.
Yeah,
I
oh,
imagine it did.
okay.
You know, but that was the piece of property that.
Strange place to put
I
it.
thought you might wanna-
No, I read this on
Okay.
Cemetery Association. One of the things that struck me, and I think it has to be, the town has to be made aware of, we're gonna take a taxable piece of property, buy it, never collect tax on it again, pay for all the maintenance. There's a lot of things that are up in the air, like, are there deeds involved? Do people pay
Yes.
for these plots?
Yes.
Well, that also has to be laid out to the
Right,
people.
Correct.
So
Right.
they,
When
They
a
can
town owns a
absorb that,
cemetery, they buy the lot, and it's like it's a land deed that they buy, according, when Millie said. Now, I wanna know is, well, where'd all the money go that these people?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't have to be
Well,
a money
I
loser.
asked Harvey, I
It
said, where's all,
doesn't have to be a money loser, just.
where's the
buy
money
plot.
that all these people
yeah.
paid?
Well,
And
that's
he's
what I
like, he
brought
doesn't
up
know.
at the last time we spoke about it, nobody seemed to know.
No,
No.
it's-
Because when you buy a lot, that money should go into the perpetual care
Exactly.
of the cemetery.
That goes general fund.
It should
Probably
not.
where it went, that was.
Well, that's the whole thing, well, where is the money?
It's with Bernie Madoff.
Because when I asked Bill, I said, well, where's the record of the deeds? And she said, well, we don't have it. when they come in and they wanna use it, then they have to present the deed.
Yeah, that's the scary part. There was no requirement to take the
The town
deed.
doesn't have any
and-
recording?
No,
That's quite common, that's quite common,
I know it.
in
but-
private cemeteries even.
No, this is town cemetery,
Yeah, but I'm saying, that's a common issue, if you don't show up with the deed,
you don't get it.
Right, so now all of a sudden you have parcels out there that could or could not be, you know, parceled out already.
Wow.
So what do you do?
Well,
You're,
You,
know,
you can't touch them.
if you take a look at some of these places and you look around, you could see the existing stones, you could see the little stones that are just, you know, stone, a stone.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's, you know, there could be
Open
20 or
area.
30% space left. But it might have a deed to it, nobody knows, cause
Yeah.
everybody's gone.
Might have
And
lost
the record
it.
keeping's
Yeah,
gone.
the family, you know, who knows? My sister lost 2 plots in some famous burial lot in Boston for her grandparents. I said, so where are they? I don't know, I misplaced them.
Can you resell them at profit?
She might have.
yes, you can.
Seriously, I wouldn't put it past her. But it was supposed to be for my.
Let's not go there.
Oh, no, trust me, you don't know my sister.
No, my
I'll
folks,
say that for the record.
my folks
Move it on.
bought 2 plots in Rose Hill Cemetery in Rocky Hill for like two grand a piece, years ago.
Yeah.
And I had to sell them when they died, because they're up at the Veterans Cemetery in Middletown. I could only get $800 for them.
Oh, jeez,
So I mean,
wow.
I don't know how much of a demand there is. out
Depends on
there.
the cemetery,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, prestige or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know, so. So we were just trying to answer, you know, trying to
So what do you think the
pursue
market
question.
value of a plot in East Haddam's gonna be?
less than what you could get for your house, much less, probably.
You know, but I mean, if we pursue, you know, some land that borders a cemetery that's already there, I think the value of the property, putting a house on it is, you know, I mean, and you're only looking at a couple acres.
Well, most
So
of
you're not
those
looking at a
pieces
hell of a
are in
lot of
open
tax.
space, so
Yeah.
you're paying pennies for it.
Yeah,
As far
sure.
as taxes go, relative, like a half an
Correct.
acre alongside an existing cemetery.
Yeah.
It wouldn't amount to.
They're assessed at $300 or $350 an acre.
Yeah, I would, as a taxpayer, I would like to see the details, how they're doled out, what money's collected, and what happens to it.
Well, you're probably right that you need to reorganize how you control and keep track of plots.
And that's what
how
that
much you're
cemetery
charging.
committee.
Yeah.
That's why you need a cemetery committee.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
so Coventry does have one.
No, there are deeds on these plots.
yeah, but no one has a
Yeah.
record of.
Oh,
who
no,
bought
not,
the
no,
deed.
the
Yeah,
old
that's
ones,
fine.
no, I mean,
Yeah, if you did it presently from this time on, yeah, you did.
Going
deeds
forward,
and
oh,
then
yeah.
you-
Yeah.
And you'd file it on the land record,
Yeah.
so.
The person who dies has the deed, but nobody knows where they put it.
It's no different if you go
It's in the
back.
sock drawer.
my in-laws
Into the
gave me
records
2
here.
plots in
Well,
St.
the thing
John's
is,
Cemetery in
regular
Middletown.
houses,
Yeah.
I have a deed
septic
for it,
systems, you
but
know,
I'm never
Well, the
gonna
problem
use
is,
it.
when they divided it, gave the deeds, they didn't write
Do
it
you wanna
down.
buy it?
Or if they
I
did,
don't
no
have
one
a
knows
plot,
where
so-
it is. And then what happened to the money?
Probably-
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not that much money to be made, but
But
it's
still,
still
it-
account for
It'll
it.
defray some of the.
Overall, I'd say cemeteries are losers because, let's face it, what did somebody pay for a plot in 1800 or something?
Yeah.
$1. I mean, you know,
Really?
you know what I mean? So overall, it's a loser, but you can offset some of the initial costs as you sell off.
We don't have a Boot Hill here, do we?
Yeah, well, we had didn't we have a?
Do we
oh,
have
yes,
one of
out
those?
there at, we do kinda have that, out there on Mount Parnassus for the town farm. Kind of a boot hill.
Yeah, that,
Unknowns.
Where, the one next to Smith Farm?
No, this
No,
is.
no.
You can't see it from
you
the
can't
road.
see it.
This is
Oh,
off of
it's-
Mount
It
Parnassus,
is
up
no
Mount
stones either.
Parnassus.
up in the
There's no stones.
woods.
And the same thing with the Bashan Cemetery, which is really on the reservoir now. The Bashan Cemetery is the same way. There are,
Which one's that?
is there any,
The one by the causeway.
right,
You can see it
If you
from the
look across
causeway.
the
Oh,
causeway,
that,
that
yeah,
little
that's
hill.
got
I
a-
bet you
that's
that
got
one
a
can be
peak.
fixed up and turned into a very nice cemetery.
Yeah.
That
But
one-
there are a lot,
Water
I've never
views
been
and-
to it.
There's
Yeah.
always
But that's
some
full,
stones,
isn't
not all of it has got some.
No,
Some
no,
of
there
it's
was more.
That's blank or
When we were discussing it.
some of them are just says, you know, slave. It
Oh,
says-
really?
Yeah,
Really,
I know
yeah,
there's a slave one in there. for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
I have to go visit
There's
that
one in Manhattan on the west side, way down the west side. It's probably the size of this table, wedged between buildings. It's a Jewish cemetery. And there's maybe 30 people.
So probably like a family cemetery or something, yeah.
Well, like I said, Carl Stoff told me a lot of the outer cemeteries were people who were not connected to the churches, because the churches were not allowed, must have done something, so the churches would not allow them to be buried on the property.
Pagans.
So you don't know what, hey, my family has one, so who knows what happened? We still own it too. So, you know.
Get that out
You know,
of here.
so you never know.
Yeah.
And weren't you talking, the Bohemian Cemetery, you said the Hungerford was, and I always referred to the one across
Well, I
from
would
Sanibel
consider
as
yours
the
the
Bohemian.
Bohemian one, because the Mill Road, that whole enclave of people, they're all Bohemians out there.
Yeah, but none of them are buried there.
Oh, there aren't any?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they're all, you know, but, my mom always called the where.
Well, how many are buried there?
I'd have to go up
Do you
and
know,
count.
I mean, and generally the
40.
30? Oh, okay. So where are you thinking it is, down at the other end of Mill Road, by the back of that guy's house?
No, it's, I thought, I was always told that it was the one, across the street from Sanibel's.
Millers.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's
that was
true,
always the
that
first
is
one
true,
that's
that's
loaded.
true, that's
The
the
Bohemian,
Bohemians, yeah, that is, because
Yeah.
Bohemian
Now,
Haulers.
when you say Bohemian, you mean like from Hungary or?
No, people from Bohemia, which is a little republic out of the Czech Republic, it's a,
Yeah,
little,
yeah.
it's its own little
Yeah,
republic.
there's been a lot of check.
But there are a bunch here.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a big enclave, Mill Road is a big enclave, and Havernack and all that.
No houses on Mill Road.
Pardon?
Aren't that many houses on Mill
Well,
Road?
the Fialans and, well, it was Fialans, Urbans, and up Tater Hill, it was Rosika and,
Urbans were on?
Chomsky and Novotny, and there's a whole bunch of
It's
them.
interesting.
Urbans
Cemeteries,
were on,
yeah.
Bohemians.
And
Which
big,
one?
the pond that Dale King, yeah,
Dale
Sheepskin
King,
Hollow.
they own that whole piece.
Oh, I
That
didn't
was
realize
the
that.
urban place, that big place down there,
Oh, okay.
that was the urban place. Well,
Yeah.
What happened? Because now they're,
Yeah,
they sold.
relocated.
they might end up back in that area.
Because that school, that little schoolhouse up on the corner of AP Gates right there, that one there, my mother went to that and said that the Urbans were leaving, they could, that was all cleared land from there all the way down there. And they could see that, oh, they're late, well, they're coming, they're jumping over the stone walls now. But that's how clear it was, you know, everything was cut.
That's
All
funny.
farms.
I'd like to see this, it like that.
I would love to be able to go back and see it, I don't wanna live there.
You know what'd be neat, with,
Because you can see Willow
computers and
Creek from my property.
3D graphics, you
Oh,
would think
really?
that they'd be able to
Oh,
get the old buildings and the old businesses in town and kind of construct it in a 3D thing on a computer.
Probably could.
That would be
The
kind of neat.
views were
for
amazing,
Eagle
Killing is
Scout.
known for
Yeah.
views, but now it's all grown.
Yeah, it's all grown up, you don't see it. But imagine what it was when they first
Pick
got
up
here.
that ball and run with it.
Oh, yeah.
Then you had the views, but it was a whole different view.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because I tried to picture that where the old houses are, and why they put
Yeah,
them where they
yeah,
did.
looking at the old towns, yeah,
What do you have, Jim?
See down at the
So we
river
talked
road.
about the
before it burned the first
snafu
time.
with the regs,
Yeah,
accessory.
accessory, yeah.
So I got a printout for you, everybody's got it in front of you, I'll explain what we have.
Another one?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's color coded, otherwise I'll lose it. So the stuff in the standard print is what we have now. And if you look at under standards, number 1, we added 2 bedrooms. We also, in the next paragraph, eliminated the maximum of 500 square feet and said that the maximum square footage of habitable space be no more than square footage than the primary structure's first floor habitable space.
Yes,
That left up,
which made the basement thing work. yeah.
made the basement into, it could also open up a wide door.
Yeah.
We took out the maximum. We also took out this crazy line that said, for the purpose of this paragraph, no accessory building be used as an accessory dwelling unless it's the only one of its type on the property, the only garage, the only barn. It didn't make sense in any shape or form, because what if you already had 2 garages already? You couldn't use one? Yeah, so we eliminated that, so I was good with that. Kind of read Bernie's eyeballs when they went up and they said, okay, what's the solution here? You know, because we did eliminate it, and we're not asking for any additional property, maybe we went too far overboard. So, is going back to 300 to 700 square feet reasonable with no additional acreage?
Are you,
discussion?
are you worried about that eliminated the maximum of 500 square feet area there?
Yeah, because here's the reason why, we said, does that mean somebody could have 2 two-family houses? So let's say you have a house that's got 3,000 square feet and it's the main floor. You could then have a second house that's 2,500 square feet.
No,
I don't think
but
that
the
was
thing
it.
is, we wanted it to be, the basement is what was driving us. The guy's
Right.
got an entire basement, we can only use a little chunk of it.
So,
Why don't we just say basement, instead of, we're trying to do it by square footage, why don't we just say you can use your full basement, we're not, We don't want them to go and build a whole, make it like another second house in their barn or something. That's the idea. It's supposed to be a little accessory apartment.
So maybe I can
I mean,
write
spell
a,
out basement and just say, okay,
so you want
you
me to,
can't, if it's the main, it's the basement of your main house, you can use it, I don't care how you.
I mean,
word it.
whether it's attached or detached.
Well, if it's the basement of your house, it has to be
Basement.
attached.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
kind of, just say it's the basement, we'll allow you to use the whole basement.
But on a
that's it.
detached accessory unit, we
That's
should
different,
have.
then we can make a limit, a square footage.
so, okay, so I can spell that out. Okay, so follow through for the discussion. In the blue, I said, no additional acreage as long as it's a minimum lot area, which is normal. And I had 300 to 500. If you flip the page, this is where we had the contradiction, because it said the accessory dwelling unit with 1 or 2 bedrooms and be constructed as a detached building require an additional half acre. Well, that contradicts what we just said in the previous. So solution, I said, okay, we're talking about size being an issue. What if we went 701 to 1,000, requires a half acre more?
Oh, yeah, if you're gonna go over that, then you need more land.
Even if it's your basement?
It
Well,
wouldn't
we'll
be.
write
No,
a
this is-
clause for that.
It wouldn't.
That's what I'm-
This is-
I can write
this is
an
detached.
exclusion clause.
This would be a detached building.
Detached.
I'm just
Yeah.
making sure.
Detached.
Or an addition, it could be an addition. Somebody could say, I'm gonna put an in-law apartment and add it to my
Right, right.
house.
Okay, so if I had a 3-bay garage, what would the size of that be, Jim?
24 by 10, 10, and 36.
12, so each says 36, yeah.
Yeah.
24
24 by 36,
Would be what?
144, 280, 300, no, that ain't that, that's the 6 something, 6.
You had to ask, huh?
Yeah.
No, it's 800 square feet or something, there was it. Oh, yeah, I do. Hang on.
Yeah, we all do on our phones.
Yeah.
So if I propose a scenario, somebody already has
860?
an
64.
Yeah, that's
an
what I got,
existing
64.
3-car garage with unfinished space above it.
Yeah.
There is no restriction except height on the accessory unit within that structure, is there?
Right.
So if I, for instance, if I wanna build an apartment for my mother-in-law, maybe, above my garage, I could do that. I'd have to apply for permits and all of that, of
Correct.
course.
You'd have to come,
For special
Yeah,
exception
special
review.
exactly.
exception review. Make sure it's detached.
Well, it's not gonna happen either way, so I'm just, it was a scenario.
Well,
So are we saying that there'd be nothing over 1,000?
so, oh, no,
Oh.
so keep going. So then we had, so you got a half acre additional
Oh,
acreage.
shit, yeah.
All
Okay.
right, so that's my, kind of, that kind of takes care of our contradictions, and also, if you get to a bigger unit, you gotta get a little more space to
Yeah.
comply with zoning. Then, the last one, accessory dwelling with 1 or 2 bedrooms that is to be constructed detached more than 700, at that point, we said double the acreage. Now, I also had a thought of that. So if we said over 1,000 requires double the acreage, or do we say over 1,000 just requires an acre? If you're in a 4-acre zone, you wanna build 1,000 square foot accessory unit, you have to have 8 acres?
Mm.
No,
That doesn't make sense.
So if you said over just have an acre, size-wise, you really want that? We need some proportion, we need some size, we need to spread you out a little bit. And you might need more septic anyway, so it might drive it anyhow.
So in R1, you need 2 acres.
You could even preclude the R4 for Christ's sake, they got a 4-acre front lot. Seems like.
I thought we had a table in the regulations.
We do, but this
That
is
lays
a
all-
different,
Could we apply that table?
because you never deal with the coverage and all. I mean, I think the concern we had at the last meeting, if I read everybody's body right, is that we just didn't wanna have 2 single-family homes on a lot. We
Yeah.
clearly wanted it to be accessory.
Yeah.
But it
Some
gotta
of
be
it-
smaller, that's for sure,
Yeah.
otherwise it won't even.
You gotta put, yeah, you gotta put some kind of control on it, and
Because then they'll be subdividing the lot. and
Oh, yeah, it'll be
the
a
whole
gimmick
nine
to have
yards.
2 families, 2
Yeah.
houses on the same lot.
Then they'll come back for a variance and say, we have 2 single-family homes,
Right.
we can't sell it.
Right.
That's, believe me, that's happening.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so is that 1,000 square feet, could be 2, is that the combination of 2 levels, or? That's not the
Yeah,
footprint.
And again, I did steal a line from our last revision, the maximum square footage of habitable space is no more than square footage of the primary first floor space.
Mm.
Or you could say 1,000 to something if you wanted to put a limit to it.
Well, two things. First thing, didn't the attorney approve all this?
Yeah, I know, but you know what, we all make mistakes.
Yeah, no, okay, I just want to make sure.
Well, legally. it's
We all
okay,
looked at
but-
it, we didn't catch
We
that
don't want
second
it.
paragraph saying it's
And then the other
contradictory
thing
to
is, how
verse.
about other towns, or are we
Oh,
too
so,
advanced?
no, so Killingworth, you can't build an accessory unit unless it's detached. In Deep River, you have to have it attached.
Yeah,
Everyone has their own little variations.
It's too complicated.
Well,
They're not thinking it through. This is a complicated thing, and because we have all these variation in housing, it can get really hairy. I mean, but there's a need here to have the ability to have this little,
Absolutely,
Yeah.
no.
Well, if, just
Yeah.
looking at the demographics
It's not
of Connecticut
easy to
going
do that.
forward.
I just don't want it to be abused, you know?
well, right,
that's
that's
the
why
whole
we
thing.
wanna put the controls in.
That's
and
what we have
try
to-
and-
Well, that's why this whole thing with, you know, the double, the acreage, I'm stuck on, you know, but it's like.
1 acre doesn't sound unreasonable.
No, not, you know, I can see it for the R1, R2, but the R4,
Well,
then I
for
start to question
instance,
it.
you gotta remember that in any fixed subdivision, you're saying you can't have accessory because that big.
Right.
Because you can't get, where you gonna get your acreage from?
Right, you already,
Nobody's selling you acreage, they need all there, so I
Right.
mean,
Right, the houses are close enough.
in more than half the
Like
time,
you.
you're not gonna get the additional acreage. Who's abutting somebody that's got acreage to sell?
Right.
Occasional.
Hmm.
So most of the time, that's gonna be you.
Yeah, thank you.
No, but it's a rare thing. Well, it doesn't mean that we'd sell it though, would we? No, okay.
Nope.
So they could want all they want, they're not getting any of my land. But I'm just saying, it'd be rare that they could get additional acreage. So,
Yeah, yours,
yeah, a subdivision like yours, that's not possible.
his
It's
is
not
an
possible.
open space subdivision, so the lots are cut down.
That too,
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not possible in a fixed subdivision that, yeah, there'd be a real rarity that somebody has a little extra acreage to,
Yeah.
that quantity.
And a lot of subdivisions have their own regulations too.
Yeah, but those can be pretty easily
Not
broken,
really.
if you gotta take the guy to court to stop them.
and technically, I can't stop and not sign the permit because there's a prohibition.
Yes, it can even be on the deeds,
So if it's,
it
yeah,
doesn't matter.
I mean, I just recently had that guy came in with a garage, it complied. So I signed it, and then lo and behold, it's after the guy got it fully built, the neighbor said, well, it doesn't comply with our subdivision, bylaws.
Which subdivision?
Your covenants and restrictions, you know, that.
The, south,
South Farms?
Yeah. So,
Well, Cedar Meadows got covenants and restrictions, but if anybody does something outside of those covenants and restrictions, I'd have to take it to court over it. I don't own anything down there anymore. I don't like, I'm gonna take it to court over it, like siding is certain siding, everything.
Yeah.
First, you won't know all the regs.
Cedar Meadows.
Yeah.
Are all the subdivisions different regulations?
yeah, they give
Keep
me,
track of all that.
So if
You
you
know,
put a deed, if you
on
restrict the
record,
property
but-
in the deed, they can unrestrict it?
oh, yeah, Scoville Landing had this restriction that you couldn't put more than a 2-car garage on it. So everybody got together and said, hey, I wanna do that, so they got together, they held a meeting, they then filed paperwork and they put
Changed
together
it.
a change it, and they changed it.
So if you sell a piece of property and you specifically say that you cannot put an accessory apartment on here in the deed, they
So-
can fight you.
So what happens is,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, you can fight them too, but you gotta go to court, so that's the issue. And for instance, remember when Jezik and Aldrich did that one out there off of Clark Hill Road? The whole thing built out certain controls, and then the last 2 lots or something, they changed the covenants restrictions so that they could build something different?
and usually the covenant
That was not
restriction goes
popular.
to the seller. So the seller has the covenant restriction because he wants to protect the rest of the lots.
Value of the lots.
So it goes on.
It got to the end, they
And then
changed it.
Stanford Bridge.
Yeah.
Sanford Bridge probably hasn't.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the one that they did.
No,
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 that was-
Sanford Bridge was Bob Thomas.
Bob Thomas.
They did the
Oh.
one right across from Valancourt in there,
Yeah.
that one right just
Yeah.
to the left of Bob Thomas's horse farm.
So they
It wasn't
they have
big.
it there.
It wasn't big.
The big thing they usually has is that Ronnie Bernstein, even though he's still alive, left it and said that it runs with the property for 20 years and shall be up for another 20 years unless official documentation is to correct it is filed.
Okay, so. he
So
paid
now we're
provision.
into 40 years on a 1981 subdivision because he said it has to be minimum square footage, it can't be a log cabin,
Right.
and all
So
those
we had
things
down
were
Cedar
there.
Meadow.
Yeah, yeah, and all that language here.
Sorry, sidetracked.
So do you want me to write something up with basement exclusions and?
Well, I'm just saying,
Existing?
I don't, you know, it's what everybody else thinks.
What do you guys think of the acreage and the zones?
I think
Let's
one
just
acre
spell out
is better
basement, that's
than
what we're
double the acreage.
Yeah, but even for an R4?
Huh?
An
Even
R4,
for an R4, I mean, that's a large plot there.
do you think they need to have 5 acres? And an R4?
Can they have a lot line revision and just put a house, an
No.
accessory?
I mean, one acre isn't, you're not asking a lot. If you're
I
on
mean-
R4, you're gonna have probably more than 4 acres.
There's not a lot of R4 subdivisions. that's
No,
the
there aren't.
thing. So, I mean, the worst case scenario, if they're short, they could then go and say,
Okay.
I go to the zoning board of appeals and try to do something. Right now, you know,
Well,
before
it
this,
doesn't
they had no.
preclude they can do anything, it's just a certain size.
Right, they can do an accessory unit right now, you
Okay.
know, under this.
It just can't be 1,000.
Would a percentage of the existing property be a little complicated?
Yeah, that's why
An
I
acre.
went back to this, I said, why don't we make it
An acre.
regimented?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that then.
alright, so I'll write an exclusion, I'll send it off with the next agenda,
Are we putting a cap on the size of a accessory unit?
you tell me.
A cap of.
Maximum.
Square foot.
Feet, yeah. As I was saying, 1,000 is 500.
Well, I mean, if it's truly an accessory thing for a mother-in-law type thing, 2 people to live, 1,000 square feet?
That's
No,
huge.
No,
That's
it's not.
plenty big, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like,
it's
there's
not that-
1,200 square foot houses that have families in them, so.
Yeah.
You can easily, 2 people can easily live on a 1,000.
This is 2 bedrooms too. I mean,
I
we
don't
are
think that's
limited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big building.
Tough restriction.
If somebody's not happy with it, they come before the board. Try to maybe get more.
They can't get it from us though.
They can't, they'd have to go for variance.
They'd,
I
or
mean,
they'd have to
I mean,
come to us to
well, you-
change the reg.
You think of about a regular ranch is usually what, 24 by
20
50?
by 40.
That's
20
that's-
by
800.
20 by 50 is
800.
1,000, so
Yeah.
20 by 50 is
Yeah.
1,000, it's always.
That's a
more than
3-bedroom unit with a kitchen and a.
Exactly.
1,200 square foot houses are
Yeah.
pretty common, especially in East Hampton.
And a basement.
I think that's fine, unless we have some.
So are you saying maximum 1,000?
I like to cap it
Yeah.
at 1,000, yeah.
Because that makes a difference,
Yeah.
because you
I
had in
agree.
the,
I
in the
don't think
middle.
there's any hardship involved with 1,000 as a cap.
No.
No,
Or
I
do you
don't
wanna,
agree.
well, then it eliminates that whole last section.
But
See what I'm
it won't
saying?
go bigger than that.
Because it says, that, you know, from 700 to 1,000 square feet requires a half acre. There's nothing after that.
Well, just
You're
make
saying-
sure you mention 1,000 is the cap though, somehow. you
Yeah, I
say
can do, yeah.
A maximum of
Maximum, yeah.
1,000.
Okay.
Because there might be a nice little unit that has square footage upstairs or something like that, even, I mean, so it may come up to 1,000 square feet. But somebody might want to build.
Okay.
So that last blue paragraph, you're gonna eliminate?
It's gonna go on now,
Yeah.
because,
Okay, the last.
because you don't need double the acreage.
Right.
You know? And it truly stays accessory. And that garage, he's coming back with a redesign and moving it away from the property line. And he does have cows and pigs on the property already, so he's gonna make part of it agricultural.
Well,
And so, you know,
that's how.
that qualifies.
Yeah, oh yeah, that does, because.
And they're out there, you know,
Well, ag barns are.
Yeah,
always
but
considered
it's
bigger
going
than
over the
ours.
hill and it's not gonna be as visible.
What if you built the barn first? And the
Yeah.
barn was there, and then he says, hey, I'm gonna put a house here.
You
Well,
can't-
that's what he's trying to do now.
Legally, you can't build the barn first, because you can't build your accessory unit before your primary
Actually, you
structure.
can, you know why?
Wait, what, if you have a
it's a
farm?
For years.
No, you can if it's a barn, because farming's a permitted thing, so somebody wanted to go and farm this piece
Oh,
of property.
farming, okay.
Right.
They wanna build a barn, they can, that's the only structure, they can't even build a
Because
shed.
people have wanted to go in and build their garage, and then we're gonna build a house later.
And then it
And,
didn't
and
happen.
because they never built a house, that's where it started, that they said, wait a minute, no accessory uses first, you gotta
okay.
build your
Yeah.
primary, and then you can build. Which brings up to one that I wanted to ask about, is the one on the corner of Newberry.
Yeah, cause he's got a full house
I
design,
don't see any,
he's got a full house design and he's going belly up, I think, financially, don't you think?
I don't know, but I
He's
don't
got
see
a-
any.
He put an
He
application,
built below the minimum, our minimum square
Yeah.
footage.
I'll go and review his
Is that
file.
the weird looking house?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has a whole house, he came in for the full permit for everything.
What side of Newbury?
It's right in the corner of where Newberry hits Wickham. Right
Yeah.
in the corner, it was a
Yeah.
little open
I've
field.
been down there in a while.
Yep.
And it's been years.
There's weird angles on that.
Oh, yeah, hey, whatever money. we
That's
spent on
under
it
minimum
didn't help.
footage?
That's a odd.
Yeah.
Do you need a break?
What's that?
You want a break before we go into public hearing?
Yeah, sure, I could use a glass of water.
Isn't it
Okay,
8
someone's
o'clock?
coming, thank God.
Yeah,
There it is.
take a motion to take a short recess before our meeting.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So what's wrong with your wife's car? Just my mom?
No, that's not my wife.
I got one.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, call the public hearing together for the East Haddam Planning and Zoning Commission. The East Haddam Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 8th, 2019 at 8 p.m. at the Municipal Office Complex Meeting Room 1 and 2, 1 Plains Road, Moodus, Connecticut, to hear the following. Application number 19-08, 85 Tater Hill Road, Dave and Jan Shaver. Special exemption review to convert an existing Tai Chi studio to an accessory apartment. This is map 13, lot 18. At this hearing, interested persons shall be heard and correspondence received.
Okay, so I've got some full-size site plans. This was, and I also sent you mail a copy of it.
Yep.
Plus,
We'll
some
share
photos
that.
were sent in mail. I have the return receipts for the record. I have received calls from the public about this, explaining the regulation. Yep, because they didn't know it existed. I said it's fairly new from the
So it
old days.
triggers when the mail goes out, right?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
We must answer the questions because
Yeah,
I see a lot of them here.
so, this one right now meets our current regulation.
Good,
Cause the,
we're off to a good start.
so it's our current regulation, cause the unit is 800 square feet.
Oh, okay.
Alright, and you'll see a little box in there, it's, you know, right where you see this town, the road, right your hand next to it, right there. That little section where it has the coverage, in my handwriting, where it says Tater Hill.
Oh, I got you, okay, yeah.
So, the main house is larger than the primary area, the primary is larger, the first floor area. The unit is existing, there's an existing septic system, it's used, and it also has a tie into the same well. You're not planning to change the design, it's gonna, no, yeah, you should, so the visual impact to the neighborhood's the same as it's been for, how many years? 2004. Here's the color photos.
Is this on cabin?
This is gonna be year round?
Yes, it is year round.
And your name for the record, sir?
David Shaver.
Thank you. Is there any correspondence? Do we need anything?
No, because it's existing systems and,
Everything?
yeah,
I did, okay.
I thought they were putting a new septic system in here.
no, that septic system design that's on there is from when it was a, Tai Chi.
It says install 1,000
Yep,
gallons.
that was when it was a Tai Chi, I took a
Oh, I see, okay.
2004 plan. It showed all the, like,
So the water's there, everything's there.
Everything's
it's gotta
there.
use it.
This is single bedroom?
yes,
And do we have a parking lot? Oh,
yes. Yeah, how many people you have in your largest class? 12. 12.
oh, so there's plenty of parking?
Yep.
Outdoor lighting
Yes.
on the building? Now, does the building department look at this before they,
When the permit comes to do interior walls, install the kitchen, that sort of stuff, the building department will look at
Get
it.
a CO.
But they've already looked at it and given the CO as a type sheet, so it's already on the record.
Yeah, but it's not,
As a-
it's not a living quarter.
They'll give us, they'll give
Yeah.
a CO at the end when they do all the renovations or whatever he's gotta do,
Yeah.
bathrooms or whatever.
Yeah,
So
okay,
now it has a CO for a meeting in assembly,
right.
which probably got a higher level
Could be, but I mean, you gotta do a kitchen.
Oh, you think so?
of.
Yeah?
And do all
assembly.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it's gonna be seasonal?
Year round.
So it's not on a basement?
I'm sure the floor is
That's what-
insulated, right?
That's why I asked.
Sorry.
I'm sure the floor is insulated.
I didn't hear you, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be year round, cause the wind's gonna be going on the bottom of
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah, you can, as long as it's properly insulated, you can
Yeah,
put it up
we'll
here.
put a skirt around or something.
Yeah, have to do something. Okay. Well, obviously, it's been that way. Let's document it now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions, comments?
No, no.
So obviously it already has a bathroom in it, the water and everything's in it. How do you prevent it from freezing up?
It's simply, the insulation seems to be adequate.
It has been?
Yes, the floor is insulated and then plywood was, all season plywood was screwed up. to
Mhm.
hold it.
And the water main coming up, did you heat trace it or the water line going in?
The water line, it's insulated coming into the,
Not heat traced or anything?
no.
You're lucky.
Is it gas heat in there?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just unsure, what's the difference in a living unit or a meeting unit? I mean, it's all the same specs or?
No,
No.
actually,
No
they,
kitchen.
well,
This
there's
is
no
gonna-
Well, there's no
kitchen.
kitchen, but he's gonna put a kitchen in.
But for assembly, the stairs, the handrails, all that stuff is like super micro, there's a bigger microscope on an assembly building than there is on a single
Egress.
family home. Yeah,
One well is plenty of water.
if there was single family home, typically they say, oh, you're gonna use, for a 3-bedroom house, you're gonna use 300 gallons. If that house uses 170, you're lucky a day. And for a single bedroom, levels are low. And if there's a problem with the well, then you drill a new one, you frack it, you do whatever it is to get more water. The building file didn't flag it as a concern when they put the Tai Chi in, so.
Relatively new, 2004, you said.
What's that?
Yeah.
Okay, anyone care to make a motion?
Oh,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry about that, I thought I already did. I opened the hearing to the public for any comments.
Having heard none?
Having heard none, guess we'll close the public hearing. Can I have a
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on 1908, 85 Gator Hill Road, David and Jane Shaver, special exception review to convert an existing to an accessory apartment.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that 1908, 85 Gator Hill Road, special exception review to convert an existing Tetra studio to accessory apartment with conditions other than the building department's review.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you have anything else, Jim?
I have nothing else.
Motion to adjourn.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That trailer, what's the regulation on trailers again? Didn't we, it has to be registered, right?
No,
Can't live
you can't use it for house.
And he's using it for house.
No, he was, but he removed it. Now he sent me a letter saying, all of these people are using it for housing.
Okay, all right, I was just wondering what all that
I
was
went in for a
about.
second one today, just to see if anybody, I don't wanna go and say, cause you got it wide open, you weren't carrying it out,
Yeah.
And he's right about 30% of them, they were using it for summer housing and that stuff, so they're gonna get a letter.
So he ran it everywhere.
Yeah.
He's a
Even if
cheese
you-
eater.
Well, he thought too that if you had it parked in your yard, you couldn't do that. But it's customary to, being a year-round house, to have a trailer parked in your yard. It's not customary to have a seasonal and have it there and have it hooked to the electricity and hooked to the water and everything else.
That is totally different.
Yeah,
Wow.
so, you know,
Right.
you have, and I said, you have a seasonal, you have a year-round house somewhere. Take the trailer to the year-round house.
Yeah.
Then it won't be tempting to open it up for the entire
I
neighborhood to
just
live in.
happened to look around, and I was delivering out by the lakes and where it is, but I just saw a bunch, actually several trailers, all with their extensions out, all set up, and their awnings are out in the guy's yard. Probably,
Yeah.
you know,
And that one.
whether they're cleaning them, or, I mean, maybe.
Well, that's why I
they're just
gave it a little
staying in,
period of
whatever.
time to see and say, okay, what's going on here? And some people open it up after going away for a week and they leave it all open.
Yeah, yeah.
And they got things going and then
They
they
gotta
close
clean
it
it.
up, yeah. But when they, you know, have it set up next to the cottage and it's all plugged in and everything else and it's a seasonal cottage, yeah, that doesn't work.
So, one last thing, my issue is, with the old Cumberland Farms at the bottom of the hill, across from, the Brownell factory. Is there anything we can do about that, in terms of getting them to make that place,
They own it.
boarded up?
Till it gets to the point where it's condemned.
Yeah,
That's it.
right now it's in the. building
Windows are all-
department's file and,
Windows are all broken out, and, I mean,
but are the windows broken or are they boarded up?
no, it looks like there's some actual broken glass there, the last time I
I'll
drove by.
I'll
But,
look at it tomorrow morning.
but,
If they're broken, then the only thing the building official could do is go order them to secure the structure.
Yeah,
You gonna fix them, or?
this
Fix
is,
them or board 'em.
Yeah.
and, yeah, okay.
They can't do, don't do something like that.
I know, it's an eyesore. It's,
Dutch was looking at that for a while.
Because
Oh, yeah,
but
it's
it's a pollution issue that's
Yeah.
still
Is
sitting.
there pollution on that lot too?
Yeah.
From what?
Well,
What
from the
do you
gas
do?
station.
Yeah.
Now,
They haven't
the tanks
finished
are
They won't
gone,
mediate it.
They haven't finished remediating it yet.
their tanks are gone.
Tanks are going.
But they leaked.
Well, I mean, that was a gas station for a long time, so they're
Right.
not very well.
That long, I didn't think.
Yeah,
Gus
Gus
Dill
Dill
and all that.
down there, yeah,
Yeah.
all that down
Cause
there.
I remember when they put it in. Or when they closed it.
I remember when it was residence there.
Yeah.
Like a,
Macamoo's
yeah,
house.
like a hotel
It
almost.
was a hotel. Yeah.
You weren't living there when the Plude house blew up.
No.
Middle of the night. Boom! I slept right through it. And I lived right there.
a
Everyone
house
was in
blew
my-
up next door to you, and,
Oh,
I remember
right
the
next to my
fire.
grandparents' house. There was a half a lot. It blew up in the middle of the night.
Next to you or across the street?
Across the street,
Yeah,
right next to
I
my
was there,
grandparents'
I was
house.
there when the fire,
That was in the '60s.
well, they
Yeah,
just had a, what was that?
Then
one
there
that-
was a fire after,
Oh,
another
okay.
house there. But
My
yeah,
great aunt's
Maybe
house.
15 years ago or something?
Yeah, that was my great aunt's house.
Oh, okay,
That was that. That was a beautiful home.
yeah.
that was almost 30 years.
No, it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, cause.
No.
he
Well,
lived
yeah, cause
over
I've been
yet-
over there for 10 years and
Yeah.
I bet you it's a good 20 years, yeah.
It's at least 20, cause you didn't have the little kids running around the house, did you?
No.
No, how
But
old
the
they
Plude
now?
house, but the fire department was right there,
yeah,
right at the base of the hill. So middle of the night, blew right up. I'll never forget that. I guess everyone was in my room looking at it, and I slept through the whole thing. We had a motion on the floor.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Does anybody ever oppose the adjournment?
Yes.